All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Problem Solver Politics live stream. I am your host, Cardin Ellis, with Cody the Oracle.
Boop. Hey, everybody.
And today, actually, we got a couple of topics. I was curious, who can we trust? I'm going to put that hat back on. That was
Who
horrible.
can we trust? Oh,
You know-
my God. Who can we possibly trust?
Who can we trust? What
In this
polls are
crazy
good
world.
now? Because post 2016, we're looking back. Vegas had Hillary Clinton up 3-1. NBC, Washington Post, Rasmussen, 528. They were all just 3-1, 2-1, 6-1. Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump smokes everybody. Now, looking at this post-election debate, everybody's saying, "Oh, Trump lost," but "Oh no, Biden lost." But now Vegas is saying Biden's up and he's a better favorite to win because of the election, yada yada, this and that. And I want to know who we can trust. Who we can trust, who actually has their ear to the railroad tracks. And then what was the other thing we were going to talk about, Cody? You want to talk about? I already forgot. Chemo brain's kicking in. Bail me out, dog.
Oh, I just thought it would be interesting to kind of just talk in general about just the kind of to your point, almost the fallout of the debate. Now here's something I always want to highlight, and this isn't the only thing like this, but I'm sure everybody out there's got a thing like this they think of.
Yeah.
I'll pull this up right now. Sorry, give me 1 second. I gotta move some stuff around. When it comes to polls and stuff like that, I remember when I think this one came out earlier this year. So this is from Morning Consult. Let me pull this. I remember watching this, looking at this Morning Consult. Here we go. This is after, I don't know if you guys remember, at the beginning of this year, allegedly World War III almost started because we killed some terrorist leader in Iran, but
Yeah.
everyone forgot
remember
about that
when?
real quick. Anyway, around that time, Morning Consult did a poll, right? And they asked, can you locate Iran or Iran? A 47% plurality support. Okay, but can you locate? This is where it gets interesting. So 28% of registered voters could point out Iran on a zoomed-in map of the region. 28! It's like one of the biggest countries in the area.
It could be its own continent.
Hey, look at that. 28%. 49% they heard a lot about the death. Okay, so that's... But again, this is what, I just remember this poll specifically because some of the respondents to where Iran was get ridiculous. We'll show you guys that in a second. But I don't know, man. Polls, I don't like any of them. Check this out. So here's where people were responding on where Iran is in a map of, like, I don't know, what would you call this? It's like Europe, North Africa,
Yeah,
a little bit
Eurasia.
I guess, yeah.
Eurasia.
Yeah. Some people thought Iran was in Spain. Really? Is this
Oh, that's bad.
what is this? The United Kingdom all around it? What is-
Romania. Look, it's all over Eastern Europe.
Okay, you thought that was
The
bad?
Balkans.
This is why polls, dude. I'm always like, hold on 1 second. My chair doesn't go up. Why's my chair feel low? Anyway. So this is the global map. Just want to show you this.
Oh, who put it in South America? Who put it in Australia?
Dude,
Oh, that one's bad.
there's literally dots in the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't think people thought Iran was a tiny island in the middle of the ocean. And this is not the most... Like, Morning Consult does do presidential polls, dude. Like, how about this? Imagine standing behind somebody in line at Burger King, and they're, like, taking 20 minutes to order, and you're, like, pulling your hair out like this buffoon.
Yeah.
And then it's, like... All of a sudden, like, a poll comes out, what they think, and you're like, wow, what do you know? Turns out Americans, like, nah, dude. And again, that is just being a little bit dismissive and facetious,
Well, here's
I
what's so
guess.
interesting,
But
though.
there's always polls out there with stupid data. Is my
But
only
look at
point.
those outliers, though. Look at these outliers. Okay, yeah, there's dots in the middle of the ocean. There's some...
Australia? We really think Iran's
But look,
Australia?
There's a clump right in the middle of Missouri.
Yeah, the middle of America.
And then
What
there's
is
a
that
clump up in Greenland. Like, and that's meaning that people were confusing it with something. Now, look, if there's one in Iraq, I could see you confusing Iran with Iraq. And obviously, the massive clump in all of Eurasia and the Middle East shows that, okay, they know it's Middle Eastern and it's Arabian. So who knows? Maybe they thought, Iran was Turkey or whatever.
Either way, I don't want to go. I
But
don't want to go
what
for everything.
clump?
so I wanna
What,
get back to the
Missouri?
point. I don't want to go for... But my only point is there's just stupid, outlier, dumb results, I think, in every poll. This one, I remember this one in particular because I thought it was particularly funny, and you kind of have the graphics to show you. But this is what it looks like, dude. It's looking like... Imagine you look at this, and then you go back up and look at these questions. So these are how people answered where the actual country is. Now let's go up and look at the questions. Do you really care how much people know about Soleimani and what they think? And more importantly, do you care about what any of these people think about the strike? at this point. Oh, a plurality support the airstrike. Dude, damn near no one knows what the country is. I really don't care what they think about the airstrike. I'm just saying, a lot of times polls work like that. They'll ask a bunch of people a bunch of questions. They'll
that's
pull
funny.
one or two out, and you'll go, wow, that's fascinating. People think that, and it's like, I don't know, man. A lot of times they're baloney. But we went a little bit long on that. This is a particularly ridiculous poll I remember from earlier in this year. I remember it was that Ireland, Scotland, where some of those dots are. Like, what? It's like, obviously, people just screwing around. Anyways.
That's funny.
But it's a little bit, okay, so one thing I've been kind of, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Thinking about a little bit. 'Cause I don't know if you guys know this. A lot of people don't. It's not like secret news. It's just the debates are so bad and they're such big news. There actually is a VP debate coming up a week from today.
Oh,
I believe
man.
it's the 8th of, actually, no, 7th of October, a week from
It's in
yesterday.
the University of Utah in Salt Lake City.
Yes. It's gonna be the only debate between Vice President Mike Pence and Vice President nominee Kamala Harris. They'll be doing one debate. It'll be now.
That's going to be like
I have a question though.
the arm of righteousness against frickin' the most postmodern chaos warrior out
God,
there.
Sure, whatever. It's good versus bad. It's just that simple all the time, man. Anyways,
Oh, bro, if you come, dude, this brother won't go to dinner with a woman without his wife around.
Hey,
Meanwhile, you got the girl
like
that
I
like
said,
was
dude,
sleeping with
it
Willie Brown to get
it's
into the state.
legitimately that simple. It's just good versus evil. That simple. I don't even think any further than that. But anyway, that aside,
Okay.
do you think? How much do you think the first debate we saw between Biden and Trump is going to influence and inform the performance that we see from Pence and Harris? That makes sense?
Well,
are they going to
to
come out? They do. What I'm saying is Mike Pence going to come out and go overboard being Mr. Nice
No,
Guy?
Mike Pence is going to play
Is-
by the rules, and he's going to get frickin'
My point exactly. Will
body
he, will
slammed
he, will
by
he
Kamala
come out
Harris.
and like never say anything like over time and like be like a robot man to try to counterback? Do you think? But like, that's the obvious foil, I guess. But then, sorry, I'll move this. What do you think? Because I think that's the obvious foil. We can agree. It's pretty obvious to assume. If Pence were to adjust his debate performance based on Trump, he probably would go super conservative and super polite.
I don't
and
think he
respectful,
could,
right?
dude. Pence, I know guys like Pence. I go to church every Sunday, and there's just these guys where their Christianity and what they perceive as cultural Christianity, and like they are what they are. They would die before they violated whatever they perceived as the affirmative good out there. And this dude, Mike Pence, like just believes when somebody punches you, you don't counterpunch, you turn the other cheek because that's Christ-like. He's old school conservative politics. And he's a campaign promise fulfilled, dude. All the conservatives were afraid that Donald Trump would just end up being this hyper-liberal guy. He promised to call a true conservative to be his freaking running mate, and he made good on the promise by nominating Mike Pence, the guy who's like more conservative than your average Mormon pastor.
How ridiculous is our political system where it's like people that are electing Trump are like, well, we got to make sure he's not some kind of like crazy liberal. And then it's like, yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch of people that were concerned Trump was going to be some crazy liberal. I mean, that was the chief concern I heard from
tons
some.
were.
It's just hilarious. Like that.
Your boy Ben Shapiro.
My point is that is how separated the two wings of the political party in this country are right now, right? Like he's literally a authoritarian dictator, or we got to make sure he's not one of those crazy libs. Like the same guy. That's how he's viewed with people in this country. Crazy. But
that actually is kind of true. Like
Yeah,
one
like-
side is writing articles about how he's an authoritarian resurrection of Western European fascism, and then the other people is like, oh, he better not be a Trojan horse for liberalism.
yeah, it's like wow, that's how like little we agree on. But then just some other like quick news. You guys probably heard a lot of this throughout the day. I'm just doing a quick recap on some debate news over the past few days. This has been a story brewing for a little while. The idea of rule changes going on. I believe this is kind of the most up-to-date news on there being a potential rule change for the next debates. So let's go to the article here. So President Trump and aides said Thursday they do not want any rules changed the next two debates with Joe Biden and suggested they may bow out if the Commission on Presidential Debates insists on new rules to reduce interruptions and excessive talking. This is kind of when the topic came up for this. I 1,000% support no more debates. 1,000%. I don't want them. I'm done. I've seen enough. I have seen enough already. I'm fine with Mike Pence not debating Kamala Harris. They could have one if they want. But basically, these two sides seem to be at a pretty big gulf here. Now, I think let's see if they have it in here. The main change, I do believe, I remember. Here we go. So the commission announced Wednesday it will consider changes to the rules for the 2 remaining encounters. They mentioned, I believe, the specific rule changes. One was giving the moderator the ability to actually turn the microphone off of one of the speakers for going over time. This article appears to mostly just
to me,
cover
that's just
the bickering.
Part of me would try it out once.
But okay,
because both are
okay.
offenders. I would try it out once because I got to tell you, man, it was annoying when they were shutting off Andrew Yang's microphone. I wish they would have shut off the microphone of some of these other idiots that keep going over and over and over and over. If it's an actual debate rule, now there is some gamesmanship to debates when there's 5 people on stage and you got to interject with that one-liner. And I wouldn't want to take away the open forum part. But dude, when it's your 2 minutes, shut the F up. And if he says something you don't like, take a note and then respond to it. But like, if there's going to be rules to this, I'm all about keeping the rules. I don't want people stuffing the Electoral College and cheating that way. You know what I'm saying? Because the rule book's the rule book. And I'm okay with changing rules as long as both parties are capable and able to abide by them. And especially in debate, I'd try it out once.
Okay, but honestly, you know what I think would happen if they do try it out? I think Trump would just yell over Biden with his microphone turned off anyway.
Well, that would be a catastrophically bad.
That's what he would do.
That's
literally
bad.
What he would do. He would be yelling, and they would turn his microphone off, and he would just keep yelling like they did.
Cody.
Dude, he basically just told Chris Wallace to stop talking, and then Chris Wallace gave up. I don't see why Trump would give up because his microphone got turned off, especially if he's 3-4 feet from the guy. I guess at least 6, right?
And I think it's hilarious that we're actually arguing about this.
That's all that would happen.
Because in our intro is literally Ronald Reagan saying, "I'm paying for this microphone." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but hold on. My idea is, if they try to put through some rule changes and the president backs out, there's no more debates. I would love them. Dude, does this help?
I think there's.
Do these debates help anyone? You know.
Yes, I think there's an increasingly smaller amount of independence.
What a big takeaway I saw independence happen from this one?
What?
So my evidence for it. So multiple people. One of them, I want to play the video, but it's a CNN video clip, and I'm pretty sure the little CNN robots will rip us to shreds. Yeah. But it was an independent voter. You know what she said the debate made her want?
Pizza.
No, made her want to not vote. Like, these debates are driving voters away. There was people that in their head thought that both Trump and Biden were a little better than this. And they see him and they're like, Jesus, man, it is this bad. It is this. Like, in your head, people probably thinking like, oh, Biden's, he's Joe Biden. He's almost like Obama. And then Biden's like, shut up, man. And I'm not going to answer your questions. Shut up. It's like, I don't think as people are expecting. And then Trump just kept going on and on and on. He literally just turned his focus and got in a fight with Chris Wallace for like, there's a lot of independents, dude, who are seeing this going like, whoa, man, dude, like, hopefully neither of these guys are president somehow. Hopefully somehow, like, I can't support either. Like, people that are really super involved and they're really super close, they can't see it. And I know people are going to immediately go, you understand me, it affects my life. Yeah, you and no one else. There are people who say, you know what, I'm going to have to live with whoever wins anyway. I hate both these people. I'm just going to focus on me. Whoever wins, man. I can't. And I think that's where independents are arriving to. I've heard a lot of, some have gone one way or the other, but dude, if you're undecided at this point, like, they can push you away. You could just say neither. I hope they both lose. I'll live with whoever wins. It's not like most undecided voters by this point probably have reservations anyway. I think if you want to keep voter turnout from plummeting, you can't have more of these debates. I think if you keep having these debates, and
that would disproportionately advantage Donald Trump. If less people showed up, that would disproportionately advantage the conservatives. So Biden better be begging for more of these debates if what you're seeing is that this woman you feel is demonstrative of what independents think. I'll be honest with you, I haven't really felt like I have my opinions, but I have not been able to back up my opinions with any kind of real data. I read the Wall Street Journal article on the independent voter response to the debates. They brought up some interesting points that, like, males, for example, generally support opening the economy and business and schools disproportionately over females. They also showed that there was some data that you know, when Biden criticized Donald Trump for his tax cuts, saying they benefited billionaires and millionaires, that more independents kind of thought, okay, yeah, that's probably true, and they thought negatively of Trump during that moment. So, I mean, there's some data that shows different sound bites worked and didn't work.
You really think though that like the maybe I'm just a weirdo. I could not see past what I was seeing. I don't care what they were saying.
Well, see,
I couldn't even see past
the
that,
fact that
any of
69% when polled the night of thought the debates annoyed them shows that like any kind of information we can glean from any sound bites are just drops in the bucket compared to the overwhelming specter of how much people hated the spectacle altogether. And so that might be why some of this information is so hard to get. But that's what's most frustrating right now for me, is the fact that if I were a doctor right now trying to diagnose a disease and I needed to send out lab tests in order to know if this person's got AML, CML, or ALL leukemia, or to know if this person has some kind of, you know, biopsy for some skin cancer or whatever, I can't have one company sending me back one result saying, oh yeah, it's AML, while another company sends me back another result saying it's ALL, use our drug. You know what I'm saying? There needs to be a fact of like how this affected independence, because there's a set amount of them in this world. And there's only a certain percentage that actually watched. And our polls are those tests. Our polls, Cody, are the lab tests of doctors. And if we're going to diagnose the efficacy of these debates, if we're going to diagnose the efficacy of what America wants as its policy, if we're going to diagnose the efficacy of anything political, we need to have good polling data. And listen to Fox, Trump won. Listen to Breitbart, Trump won. Listen to NBC, Joe Biden won by a landslide. I mean, it's beyond partisanship at this point.
Well, it's not even that. This is the problem with the information. Sorry, is the desk?
Is the desk what?
Felt like the desk was too high. I'm done. No, but dude, the problem with like the information age internet is like legitimately whoever you want to win the debate won it. You could read like 9 articles and watch 5 hours of YouTube videos and listen to 9 hours of podcasts, just backing up that the person you wanted to win the debate won it. Seriously, you could do that if you want. Like you literally can stick your head in the proverbial sand and just be like, well, nope, I got literally endless confirmation that my candidate won. Here's something I want to think is interesting, and if we do, I do not think I'm going to get my wish. I feel like there will be another debate. So, under the assumption there will be another debate, I want to check this out. Now, here's an article from Deadline, which I think is, probably one of the better places to go for news on viewership. I only care what CNN thinks, so here we go. Deadline. Presidential debate viewership falls from 2016 to 73.1 million. Fox News tops ratings. Now, and I've read through a couple of these articles. My immediate reaction, and we'll go through it. Hold on. So, let's go through the article first. So, an estimated 73.1 million people watched the first presidential debate of 2020. A huge audience, but still short of a blockbuster audience for the initial matchup 4 years ago. The numbers are from Nielsen and don't include 16 networks. Sorry. So, they mentioned the first debate in 16 drew 84 million. However, they said that the total viewers, they mentioned it here, the Nielsen ratings they were using don't take into account all of the different online streams. I know it sounds stupid, but like for example, if any of you guys watched the debate with us, and you don't count for these. So I think
that was hundreds of people.
My point is, I think overall it probably is closer to even, right? Probably closer to even from 7. I don't think it's a $73 to $84 million gulf. I think from 2016 to now, there's a lot more people watching streams and stuff, and watching not even streams, but just going to YouTube, using the YouTube app on their TV. Some of that's counted, not all. Still short. My only point is, if there's going to be a second debate, right? Does that number go up or down? I think generally speaking, with the debates, viewership goes down. Because like with anything, there's hype for the first one, and then you lose steam.
Although, I don't know. I feel like I would say the closer it gets to the election, it goes up. I don't know what the data is. But
either way, if that starts plummeting, like I think, because dude, like I don't know. I really don't know. The next debate is going to be between Trump and Biden, more of a town hall style.
Yeah.
So there's going to be people asking him questions.
20 people in the audience that have pre-programmed and figured out questions.
And this is a question for you guys in chat. What do you actually want to hear either Biden or Trump talk about and say? Like literally, what is it you want to hear? I cannot say it. I don't know. I feel like I kind of hear it with Trump and Biden. I really don't know what else there is. Does that make sense? Do you see what I mean? Like, what is that question you want to see? I would love to hear Biden say more about the Supreme Court. Apparently, he just won't. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Only like because Trump's very clearly on the record with his stance on it. What's Biden's? He just won't say it. So,
and that's really what kind of gets us frustrated as the American public is we want to know, will you pack the Supreme Court? And he just won't answer.
But like some people want him to. Why won't he say like I? It's just like one way or the other. It's like it isn't even like there's a wrong answer there. You know what I mean? There's an open debate. There's people that are both for and against it. That's what I don't understand. It's like I don't think it's some insanely unpopular or insanely popular opinion. It's like you're gonna have to stand by it, be a grown up. But it's the kind of thing you would think he would just tell people like vote for me so I do X. That's I don't know. I don't want to get too lost on that, but that's the only thing I could think. But even then, it's like everything else, dude, it's been said to death. I don't know what else could come out of these debates other than me continuing to lose respect and others, I'm assuming, for these two individuals.
Well, the only reason why I think we do need more debates is I feel like there's a lot of progressives that are trying to still feel out Joe Biden. And I think it was a little bit of a revelation yesterday when he's like, I don't support the New Deal, and his powerful stance that I am the Democrat Party. And so I think there's a lot of people that are wondering what they're going to get out of him on the left.
I can't believe he said that.
And why can't you believe it?
Because I don't believe that. I don't believe Joe Biden. He was asked like 20 minutes later, so Joe Biden, why haven't you like called these governors and mayors in these states that are experiencing violence and just like gave him consulted, spoken with them. He's like, well, I'm not in office. It's like, I thought you were the damn party, dude. It doesn't even like,
yeah,
that's better than being in office. You're the party. Like,
that's a really, really good point. And that's why it seems so disingenuous.
Hey, how about this?
Yeah.
Another reason why I kind of want to know more about his stance in the Supreme Court. He claims to be the party. Well, people in your party, Andrew Yang, I think, wrote an op-ed for a term limit to the Supreme Court. But still, like, Joe Biden just says nothing. Like, I'm not telling you who I'm going to nominate. I'm not going to talk about term limits. I'm not going to talk about stacking the courts. None of it. It's like, but you're the party, I thought, dude. Like, if what you say is what the party believes, then it's pretty important what you say to get votes.
The sad thing is
people would vote for him specifically for whatever he says. So.
Yeah, and the sad part about that is that Joe Biden doesn't have the swagger to really make us think that, oh yeah, he is the party. And the narrative has been forming on the right that Joe Biden is just a pawn of the progressives. And so a lot of these sound bites just reminded me, I had this chemistry teacher who just was not fit for high school kids. He came out of academia where everybody treats you really, really much more respectfully, and you can just give him an F if you don't like him and so on and so forth, to all of a sudden being thrown into freaking a high school room with a bunch of 17-year-olds. And I remember he had this, when he came back, he wanted to be a disciplinarian, and he wanted to be able to control the kids a little bit more at the end of the second semester. And there was this day where he tried being really forceful, but it didn't work. It's like, dude, you're Mr. D, man. You're a pushover. You're not a tough guy. We know when you're trying to act like a tough guy, and it comes across as a little bit sad. And that kind of is what Biden felt like to me when he said that. He was like, oh, well, no, I'm the party. You know, and he said it dismissively and cool enough that you feel like maybe a counselor told him he had to say it that way or something. But it's like, bro, nobody's really feeling that. And there's a reason why this narrative is forming on the right that you're really just a pawn for the radical left. It seems like he said that to try and shake a narrative, and it didn't land. It just didn't land. We got a super chat here. Sly Cactus says, I'd love to know the data on the debate's watch time and how many people actually watched the whole thing. God bless those poor people. It was low. It was low.
We just talked.
A lot of people were turned off.
No, we just talked about it, but I'm trying to. I don't know if they have like the quarterly numbers, you know, where they go like by 15-minute increments, and they'll be like,
yeah.
I don't. The only reason everything I know about TV ratings comes from wrestling, because for whatever reason, wrestling fans are obsessed with TV ratings.
Okay.
Actually, it makes sense because there's competing shows, but either way, I'm looking right now. I'm trying to see if I can find it. If the kind of quarterly numbers, I would love to see that because, for example, they'll do this in wrestling, right? And they'll look and they'll
oh
try
my
to.
Gosh, NBC News. I'm going to send you the link. It says about 73.1 million people tuned in the first debate, and most stayed the entire time.
That's fascinating. And I have to
Wow,
say,
I wonder what I had
please,
read.
please send me that. Now,
Okay.
at the same time, I also am not surprised by that at all. That sounds about right at the same time.
Because this goes in direct opposition of here. I'm sending you in Discord. I apologize. I'm doing it right now. This goes in direct opposition. I must have read a different stat because they said maybe it was a pleasant reaction was low. Because I remember everybody like in the 90th percentile just was turned off by the experience.
Maybe they were turned off but did not turn it off.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, you got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it says right here, interestingly enough.
Oh yeah, here's the quarter hours. Okay, cool. So
Oh, you found it.
yeah, they had the link to that.
Great. Yeah, that's a high number. Look
Someone
at that.
has this. No, but here we go. So this is like the stupid, confusing like weeds of it. But anyway, you can see the number go how it fluctuates from the share by quarter hour, and it really doesn't. Most people it does seem like stayed for the entire thing. Which
Yeah,
again,
NBC says people stuck around for most of the debate with little fluctuation in viewership from start to finish. That's incredible.
I mean, like you can look. Here's actual like raw numbers on the screen. You
That
can see.
surprises me
It's
because
kinda
I
like
felt like we were
gibberish, but
holding on.
They're basically the same. But how about this? Why would you have turned it on then turned it off? I have to be honest. I can't give an answer. If you were sitting down to watch Donald Trump debate Joe Biden, you kind of had to know what you were getting in for. It was worse than I expected. But yeah, like there was never a moment where I was like, "That's it. This has crossed the line. I'm turning it off." You know, like you kind of have to see it out. Because you're not watching this for fun. I wasn't watching this for entertainment. I was watching it because I want to see, okay, what goes on here. I mean, I wanted to be entertained, don't get me wrong. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It isn't a wrestling match. Or if it's a dumb wrestling match, I can change the channel to literally the other wrestling show on at the same time, right? Like, this is the presidential debate. And it isn't a football game where it's 35-3, so why bother watching? I'll tune out, it's over. It's a debate. Like, no one ever actually pulls ahead. Like, it just keeps going. And I also think people know you're kind of just watching for that one viral moment. The one thing everyone's going to be talking about.
To say, I was there when he said it.
Yeah.
I was there when he said it.
Where were you? That's what I said in the stream. You'll be able to tell your grandkids, you remember where you were when Donald Trump told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand down, or whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
But hey, it's you saw live.
Legit. I agree with you. So that really impresses me that most people stayed. That many people tuned in and most people stayed. That's some serious data right there.
Yeah, but like seriously, why would you tune out of the debate once you've tuned in, right? Like,
Because
you're
it
in
was
for
a
the
turn
debate.
off by the time Chris Wallace was yelling at the same time Biden was at the same time Donald Trump was. You want to throw your hands in the air and be like, this is our leadership. Like, this is turning into literally what we used to joke about West African banana Republicans, not banana Republicans.
But no, you see a video of like, yeah, I don't
You
want
see the videos
like
of
a
some
Singapore, like a
yeah,
Senate,
Singapore
like, fighting each
parliaments
other,
where they
yeah.
start throwing chairs at each
I
other.
don't want to besmirch any wrong country, but
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. It wouldn't be Singapore. I think they're pretty disciplined over there. You know what I'm saying?
I
But
remember there were some South Asian countries I saw videos.
yeah,
from.
or else you'd see some country that didn't exist 50 years ago during imperialism that fought for its own freedom and has this great story, and all of a sudden they've atrophied into just guys, jumping on each other. There was the famous Ukrainian parliament that came to blows. And it's like, what? And these are leaders? I mean,
I have a question. Let's say that in like the Congress or in the Senate, somebody literally picked up a chair and threw it at someone else. Don't lie. Depending on who threw a chair at who, what would the general reaction be on like Twitter and in the media and stuff?
oh, nowadays, I think if anybody did it towards a Republican, the SJWs
Okay,
would
hold
say
on.
it was
I forgot- I
fighting
asked
for
this question.
freedom.
But yeah, but depending on who threw it at who. Dude, if a Republican threw it at the right SJW, they'd be like, yeah.
Like
the
if
guy was
Dan
there.
Crenshaw
would
did it,
go
I'd lose
both,
respect for
It would
him.
go both ways, okay? But
If Dan Crenshaw did it, I'd lose respect for him.
okay,
if
but
some
my only point is, sorry, I don't want to get into the partisan weeds, but
what?
do you agree that Republican or Democrat, depending on who threw the chair at who, there'd be a large group of people who would just be like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we've gotten that bad. There's people like if AOC called Mitch McConnell a bad name and threw a chair at him,
I have to admit, now that you
Resistance
say that-
Twitter would support her.
I would laugh at that. Now that you frame it that way, especially that'd be weird because it's a congressperson.
No, we actually
congresswoman,
all
or a
kind of would
senator
laugh
and a
as long as nobody
congresswoman.
was actually legitimately hurt. But like the meme of like AOC running with a chair. But it's sad. We've gotten that bad. And you had an interesting theory, Cody, where you thought, I wonder how much of our social isolation is contributing to the political divide.
Here's the video from, they say, the Taiwanese parliament.
Taiwanese parliament?
Yeah, but I'm saying is, and there's no flame to Taiwan. I'm just saying, if something like this happened in the U.S. government, yeah, these clips would be being passed around, and people would be like, "Oh my God, did you see? Yeah, so and so slammed such and such."
Wow.
And I don't know, man. It does bother me, right? The blowing air horns, like this would all be encouraged in America in 2020, not by everybody by and large, but there'd be a faction encouraging all of this stuff still. I don't know. I hope we don't. I hope we don't get to like.
Dude, does he do it? Does he do it?
I hope we don't. Other shares came up at the
Whoa!
bottom. Of
Whoa!
yeah,
That is epic. A water balloon was thrown.
yeah, but like sorry, it is distracting watching this because it is distracting. But still, like this is the kind of stuff that you like. That's exactly the kind of stuff you probably would hope to never see in America. But I think we're going to see it sooner than later. I really
Yeah.
do. And again, no flame to Taiwan. No flame. Damn, dude, these guys are going at it, though.
By the way, I mean, come
these
on.
guys were going
This
at
is
it.
dude. This is freaking Asia. They teach martial arts in schools. I want to see freaking thunder
Oh my
kicks,
God,
dude.
that's ridiculous.
I mean, half these guys got famous in movies, man.
yeah.
If they're like here, man.
I have a question. How many people live in
Where's
China?
the ex-military?
How many people live in China? Just a question.
How many people live in China? Billions. No, they passed. It's 3 billion.
How many of
right?
them are like renowned for martial arts? I mean, if they're all so good at it, you think of
No,
the
but
billions.
like, come on, like
come on.
our freak. No, come on.
It's ridiculous.
Our Congress is like what 10% ex-military, right?
On it.
So 10% of those
unironically,
guys
yeah.
should be roundhousing, dude, with whatever they
for that
learned in
reason,
basic
yeah.
training.
For that reason that you brought
10%
that up,
of those guys should be roundhousing.
Yeah.
Like-
Unironically, there's probably more people in like Congress and Senate who are former soldiers with martial arts training than there is in like whatever random parliament in Taiwan.
You think ours?
I
Has
think
more
there's a
money?
higher percentage, Jeff, for that reason, just for military service. Just because anyone who goes to military.
No, but half of these Southeast Asian countries, it's still mandatory military service.
Okay, sure. So if it is, I mean, actually, maybe Taiwan doesn't. Again,
Okay.
another reason I don't want to get into all the weird, like, cultural reasons why they should fight better for a country I know almost nothing about. Sorry if I'm not big
I
on
played
that.
Street Fighter. I know what I'm talking about.
Jesus. Okay. Anyway, I don't know. I have no idea where to go from there.
Well, no, you had an interesting theory that I want you to dive into. Was you said that you think our isolation during quarantine might just embitter the political divide and make it deeper, faster, harder, stronger, longer.
Oh no, specifically what I'm speaking of. Specifically,
Okay.
I'm trying to find an article, but anyway. Excuse me. Obviously, remote working, people working from home instead of going into big offices,
Okay. Legit.
is a big trend up, right?
Okay.
Like, I mean, I'm trying to find the article. I've read plenty. I'm trying to get a good one to pull up for you guys. But, like, a bunch of companies are going to, like, mostly remote working. They're not gonna have as many people coming into offices and stuff like that. I wonder how much... Dude, I've always maintained that... I've maintained it. I've seen, like... Americans do a great deal of socializing in general with people outside of their family group at work.
Okay.
Just, I mean, and I'm speaking specifically to, like, about the stereotypical office worker, right? Even then, in your line of work, we don't have to get into it, but how many strangers do you interact with in your line of work that you wouldn't if you're doing it remotely, right? And the only reason why I bring it up is that's one of the main ways, as an adult, you will be forced to be around people with different views than you, is
Yeah.
work. You can choose it.
70% of
church doesn't
romances
have-
1 year started at the workplace in
but,
America.
But think about this: like when you go to your sports bar, how many people have different views than you at the sports bar you go to watch your sports team?
Yeah.
When you go to church to worship whatever sect you're in, how many people have like wildly conflicting views? Maybe politically, but still, we're all there for church, right? Work was that one place where you would show up to the office, and again, people worked in different environments. Yeah, I'm sure there are some companies that are all one political stance, but it was kind of like that part in the American culture where you, as an adult, kind of like as a kid, when they force you to be with people that are different than you in school, as an adult, you'd be forced to be people different than you at work. If we move to more and more and more remote working, or especially, like, I see a lot of people throwing around the idea too, once kind of lockdowns and COVID passes, having these We have them right now, kind of places you show up to just kind of like just get internet connection and work from on your laptop. I'm blanking on the name, but they're basically like centers you can come in and spend some time, but you spend some money and you can like rent a little office area.
Yeah.
They're gonna just have more of those with people working at all these different companies, maybe, but realistically, yeah, you're gonna see a big decrease in people spending time with people that they don't want to spend time with, which.
Yeah.
Good and bad. I saw one article I wanted to pull up that said
Well,
how
it's good for
liberating
who and bad for who
was.
is the question.
Well, I think it's bad for cohesion because it means that it's easy to just write people off. You don't like literally work with them. You don't
wanna
like,
know why I
have
don't
that
look-
guy that you can think of, a girl.
I don't look forward to it because I remember life before the internet when that's how you got along, having dances, having block parties, having fun. And our people were good and great. And I thrive off of that human interaction. I love it. It's the number one thing I love. Okay. The cynical part of me looks forward to all of that just because conservatives have more children and they're more family oriented and they're better at it. And if we're going to tank ourselves and our society down to just being a bunch of isolated people that work in different sects and things like that, well, at least our team's having more kids and replacing itself faster. So if this is going to be a war of attrition, we will survive.
That's not what I'm talking about, though. The one thing I'm talking about is as we have more control of where we spend our time and with whom, we will not be forced to spend time with people who think differently than us. So it'll be easier to be intolerant of people with different views because you're not around them. I'm not talking about hanging out with people. I'm just talking about like if you're like, oh, how could anybody support something? And then like you happen to know a little about someone's political opinion, but you're like, oh, I work with somebody who supported Bernie Sanders and they weren't a crazy communist. They just kind of wanted the best for this country and they must have been a Bernie supporter.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're friends with them. Just like, oh yeah, I've seen him with his Bernie sticker on his car. It's small stuff like that, but then you're with the guy every day or the girl. And, you know, you work together, and if they do a decent enough job, I'm not trying to make a big deal of it, but it's just like that stuff happens a lot over a period of time. And if there's this increase in you being able to really decide who you spend time with, again, you said block parties, dances. Dude, setting up block parties and dances with people who just think and feel largely how you think it feels is the problem, is what I'm saying.
No, everybody came together back then.
I know, but now it's easier to reach out to more people so you don't have to. You can pick and choose just the people you want. And I think it's interesting.
Okay.
I think a few years ago, this idea that like you no longer will be forced to spend time around like anyone you don't want to spend time around, even people you would like quote unquote work with in like a physical sense on a day-to-day basis, you'll be like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, just work, you have people you have to, and now it's more and more like, nope. Like you work from home, you go to whatever little private establishments that have people that kind of think and feel like you.
Yep.
And that's how it is, so you do it. And I don't know, I don't like it. I have bad vibes about this big remote work.
I'm not worried about it. This is all prophesied, bro. This is all prophesied. The world will get so bad that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will be the last institution preaching love and will be the only thing left standing in the rubble that will be in charge of educating the masses. You know, just furthering the day of the Lord, brother. Furthering the day of the Lord, man. So I'm ready. I got my ammo. You know,
people keep saying like, oh, what does it even mean? No one ever
I got my
explains what
food
it
storage.
means. Do all the gun. Oh, I'll shoot the. It's so dumb. It's just all so stupid, man.
Look. I've read the books.
So stupid, dude.
I've read the books.
And a society doesn't exist anymore if literally people just pick and choose who they'll be around at all times and who they won't. Because you just demonize people you're never around. That's why I thought, like, these little... Like, dude, like, maybe you'll have to deal with them for a little bit of time, but I don't know, man. I don't like it. It bothers me the direction we're heading in. Like, we need to be outside dealing with whoever... Here's something else. Like, for example, this has been an interesting issue with dating, people have noticed, right? It's one of the reasons why they think because like there's scientists desperately trying to figure out why birth rates are declining because it is bad. Like they're trying to figure out
you can't date now.
What the hell is it? Okay, but
Chivalry's dead and women killed it. That was the opener of freaking Dave Chappelle on our freaking.
I forgot that the God Dave Chappelle and the SJ Dubs rule the world. They don't, dude. No, there's other things contributing, man. A big thing contributing is the internet and the ways that like social groups have expanded, right?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, man. If it was just you were probably gonna date somebody who lived in the city you lived in. You weren't really thinking that much more outside of that. There wasn't. You know what though? I can probably get better. I can probably deserve. I can do. Now we have these dating apps, bigger social circles. It's expanded it. There are people. There's. It's almost like, ironically enough, I've seen people phrase it this way. I think it's funny. You know what they say, like the feeling if there's like 40 different boxes of cereal, you just won't pick one because it's like, it isn't like, oh, there's a few people I see every few days. Oh, she's cute. I see her at the bus stop. No, it's like someone scrolling through their phone. It's get more daunting. People are like, do I really want to have a kid with this person? Do I really want to marry this person?
Yeah.
Because and it's. That's not it. I'm not saying it's all of it, but that's contributed. Like the way in which we interact, we kind of like aren't as good at it. We kind of, I don't know. I don't want to get too far in it, but it feels like we spent thousands of years socially developing to not interact the way we interact anymore, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a lot of like the evolutionary stuff we've got in our society is out the window. Any of the stuff about like adjusting to living in these like, you know, town, city, county-sized communities, like you live in a global community basically now. Or statewide. Everything is on such a bigger scale. Everything's longer. It extends both ways.
Yeah.
Think about that. Like, imagine how many people date somebody and they're like, oh my God, if my spouse knew what I was like 7 years ago, they would have. Now they do, dude. It's like on the internet. They've seen it.
Yeah.
Like all of this stuff like plays in. It makes everything more difficult. There's like a higher degree of difficulty to just like general societal interactions through social media and stuff. And I think that being forced to work in an office with somebody was one of the ways we were combating that.
Well, but I also think
just sticking hard-headed dumb people together.
I think we're getting over that, Cody, though. Like, how many people have you met have canceled Facebook because it was too combative and too political and now just have Instagram? Why? Because all you can really do is post pictures and tell other people, oh, cute picture. You know, I mean, that's the main reason why most people canceled Facebook is because it got too crazy with politics. You know, and then they don't cancel Twitter. They just turn off notifications and are a lot better at self-regulating. It's kind of like when smallpox blows through an indigenous population that never had smallpox, you know, that 5% that survive, and then the rest of them cope really quickly because they remember the pandemic. Well, it's kind of like the millennial generation was the first generation of constant phone activity and notifications and data and this and that. And later generations are going to have a much healthier approach to screen time, a much healthier approach to social media, a much healthier approach to mental health and devices and digital interactions and so on and so forth. Millennials are like that indigenous population that just experienced smallpox right off the bat. I think, you know, 95% of us will have been negatively affected by it, but our children will learn better.
Dude, how long have human beings been working by coming together and working from a centralized area, right? Like, how long has that been generally how we did? I think the Greeks did that.
What, come to the office?
Some kind of office, yeah. The quarry? I don't know what they called it, right? But there was like a place people went to work, right? I don't know, the stonemason shop, whatever you called it. Check this out. It's an article from Washington Post. Americans might never come back to the office, and Twitter is leading the charge. Twitter plans for work from home indefinitely have prompted a wave of copycats, but its transformation has been 2 years in the making, and the rest of America can learn some lessons. This is specifically what terrifies me. Yeah, imagine this picture. And I know Twitter's a funny example. People have a lot of ideological criticisms of Twitter, whatever. But seriously, imagine office buildings across the country with rooms like this with people from all over the place coming together to work together. Just gone. Erased. No more. Why? The bean counters say you kind of save more money. That's why. Like that is why a lot of offices are moving to doing this stuff. It saves money. Right? Yeah. But listen, I think it's interesting. They say corporate America has long been defined by physical offices. But in a few short weeks, the pandemic upended that as thousands of companies mandated their employees work from home. What many thought would be a temporary workaround is now a mass experiment. I love it. I'll be part of a mass experiment with no end in sight, as many companies await a vaccine or other developments to ensure workers' safety. While many companies are anxious about the new reality, fearful of reopening and worried about the loss of workplace connection, some employers have embraced it, even going so far as making remote work permanent. Outdoor apparel company REI, Facebook, and Ottawa-based Shopify, its Canadian company, have all announced some measures making work from home the new norm. Again, you think REI, Facebook, and Shopify are in the business of losing money? Is that why they're telling people to work from home? Or do they think that whatever productivity losses are made up for and not having to maintain? Speaking of building like this all across the country, doesn't look cheap. Doesn't look cheap to build this stuff and keep
Yeah.
it all maintained all the time. Have food for these people, replace all this stuff. It's couldn't be free. But look at these pictures of these office buildings empty. But what do we first of all, like, without even getting too far into the social impact of it, what the hell are we gonna do with all of our office buildings, dude?
Oh,
we
no.
literally have just office buildings everywhere. We're just
Dude,
gonna what are we
no.
gonna do with them?
This is when the progressives need to shine. Because I've been reading for 30 books, so many social engineering books that here's an example, Cody. Why don't we make all of the downtown sky rises, instead of driving past our storage units where we hold all of our stuff that we never use or only go visit once a year?
Look at this building.
Are you listening to me, Cody?
I'm listening.
Okay. If you think about it, the average family that has a storage unit for their Christmas decorations and their Halloween decorations and all the other crap that they only use once a year, why are they commuting to downtown LA 40 minutes every single day? And then back? Why don't we make the high rises in downtown LA the storage units, and then make everywhere where the storage units are in every locality small shared business office spaces where whatever group that works for Northrop Grumman or whatever group that works for Shopify or whatever group that works for Twitter in that city goes to work, so that we shorten all of our commutes by 90%.
I have a question for you, Carden.
What?
Why do you actually brought up a really interesting point there? How come there's like a lot of storage facilities and they're spread out? Why isn't it like just the depot?
Well, because we all live in different areas and are spread out and we want to be close to our stuff.
Even then, what if we don't want to be...
And we're not forced to commute. We're not forced to commute to a storage unit like we're forced to commute to
what
work.
I'm saying is, if you were to move all the storage into like big buildings that have tons of floors, you're going to have this everyday, endless, nonstop, constant flow of in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. On just sometimes it'd be too much. It wouldn't be in at 9 out of 5. It would be like, what if everyone drops stuff off? It's the reason why it
You
makes
haven't
sense.
been to one of these storage unit places? They're ghost towns.
Because they're spread out and they don't have that many units. They're not 40 stories tall, dude.
Dude, but it would eliminate rush hour.
It wouldn't, because there'd be a 40-story tall storage unit with
No,
like
I've
thousands
seen-
of people that go to
and
it.
we could make them schools. We could have so much more open space for schools because
Why not convert
the
them into
value would-
housing?
But no, that's true. We could convert
Why wouldn't it
some
make
into-
it? I mean, because it's a good point. We got to do something with them. If everyone's working remotely, we have like legitimately 25-story buildings that are going to be basically empty. So like,
Well, yeah, and that's the thing
something's
is
gotta
it
be
will
done with them.
plummet the value of commercial real estate space to, instead of being $8 a square foot like it is in LA and New York, or being $6 in the suburbs or $4, or else around town here you can still get it for like $2.50 to $4 a square foot for rental space. It would plummet to like 50 cents a square foot, and all of a sudden we could reassess property value of homes. Tear down the old warehouse that used to be the office building for Bank of America, because they're all working from home anyway, and let's make it a park.
I just think it's
Utopia, Cody, and I want the utopia to be enforced by my side.
fascinating. Okay,
And
the only point I'm trying to get to, man, before we have to wrap up here in a few minutes, but the only point I'm trying to get to is, I really think socially, culturally, even just for infrastructure and like the way we design cities, moving radically away from working in offices is going to have crazy drastic impacts. We have spent so long getting used to not doing this. To just do it like this, it's going to be something. I mean, there's going to be buildings that legitimately had people, thousands of people coming in and out every day, like empty. If this goes through, obviously, there's like anything in business, people are going to zig and others zag. They're going to say, "Hey, we're going to go all in. Hey, we're going to mandate 14 hours in the office. You got to sleep in the office.
Yeah.
We're going the other way. you live in the office, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying everyone will do it, but I mean, even to your point about just the real estate market, 25% reduction in renting. I mean, dude,
It's brutal.
Go to New York. You were in New York State. There is you look like legitimately floor to ground buildings, and it's like almost all of it is like some form of office, like some office space, and there's like blocks of that. Like, what are we gonna do with this stuff, man?
Yeah.
Just saying it's useless now. We don't need it.
Is
like, what are we gonna do with it?
What are the stats in New York for commercial rental space? Because I know that they've hit almost 20% in residential.
Oh, I'm sure, but I just mean we've normalized the idea of building buildings that are massive and take up a big part of our cities, specifically for a single purpose, which we're moving away from now.
Yeah.
That's kind of radical. Not every city, but even the downtown LA, which is a
Yeah.
pretty flat city, we have like 5 or 6 buildings that are just like big office buildings. I mean,
Yeah.
but even I know people work for the government and they work from home too. I don't know what housing, yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Like a phoenix, our society will rise from the ashes, Cody. And who knows? Maybe just like your boy in Blade Runner, who was flying through the ashes of Vegas, yet found himself watching the monogram of Elvis in an empty restaurant he had to himself. Maybe we will come to reoccupy this urban wasteland in its ashes.
I don't. Oof. Like someone just said,
Hey, come on, that was an epic movie reference, dog. To like one of your top 3 films.
epic movie. Right?
I thought you would
Blade
be
Runner
digging this.
literally takes place in the future. Saying the future will be like the Blade Runner, which is like, I guess, yeah. I'm just, I don't know.
You
No
should,
offense.
you should have been like the Kumbayan to my ya
See, that's
on
the
that
problem.
one.
You've like never seen that movie. You don't understand why I like
What do you
it.
mean I've never seen it? I've seen it twice.
Okay, but you don't understand why.
Once
I
because
like
you
it.
told me to watch it again.
Okay, my only point is just like I'm not fascinated because like it exists. So just things about the movie I think are cool,
Okay.
not the existence of it. Right?
That's my goal, Cody. That's going to be a friend gift I give you for your birthday one of these days or something. I will give you a piece of Blade Runner. I will find somebody.
Hey, like a prop or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah, somebody who was a prop master. Somebody. What would be the coolest prop? Okay, if you could have any piece of any movie in history, what would you have?
That's a pretty crazy thing to say because there's a lot of stuff. I don't know.
I have a friend who has the original Predator mask
That'd be cool. I
that
mean,
was on the movie.
like M is one of my favorite movies. Having like the jacket, they put like the M thing on. That's
Ooh,
pretty
that's
cool.
good.
That'd be like a cool thing to
You know
have.
what came to my mind that I thought would be super cool? I think it'd be cool to have the original picture car of the DeLorean from Back to the Future.
Yeah, sure, yeah,
The
yeah.
flux capacitor. The actual real flux capacitor on your desk. That would be like...
Hey, if I could have like anything, I'd want the James Bond Aston Martin that turns invisible from the Halle Berry movie.
Dude. Or the one that shoots out the... Ooh, gosh.
Is that different? What's that one?
Oh, yeah. What actually... Yeah, before we wrap up here, I got to know. What would be the ultimate piece? Oh, Sly Cactus brought it up. I think Sly Cactus has it right. Luke's lightsaber. I don't think there's a bigger piece of American, except for maybe Darth Vader's mask. But then again, I don't know. That's not the weapon. I think Sly Cactus got it. Luke's lightsaber. Probably the biggest piece of Americana out there. Who has it?
You think it's the biggest piece of Americana ever?
Maybe the original Coca-Cola recipe.
You think
The original Coca-Cola
you put
recipe.
Luke Skywalker up there with like the original Coca-Cola recipe? Is
Well,
like,
come on. Which had more influence worldwide, Coca-Cola or Darth Vader?
dude, tell you
Sly Cactus says, or Dorothy's ruby slippers. I think the cultural impact of Star Wars is
no,
bigger than...
Dorothy's slippers are way bigger than Luke's lightsaber.
You think so?
If you just showed that lightsaber thing, it might get recognized as like a lightsaber. If you just put those red slippers up, people would be like, "Oh, that's Dorothy's shoes."
Well,
from-
see, I've seen Dorothy's ruby slippers. Those are in a museum.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Exactly. Where's
Yeah.
Luke's lightsaber? Is it in a museum for us all
I
to
don't
see?
know.
Is this
Where is it?
pinnacle, important piece of American?
Dude, this is like, where's the
what I
freaking Ark
thought.
of the Covenant? Hold on.
No. Dorothy's ruby slippers.
Where
That's gotta
is
be it. That's
Luke's lightsaber prop. I bet you George Lucas just owns it.
Lakers shot, dude. Lakers are gonna sweep. I'm like, honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna watch games 2 and 3.
Oh my
I feel
gosh,
like
it's
I'll
sold.
watch game 4.
Dude, this is where it is. I know it is. Look, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Luke Skywalker's lightsaber sold for $450,000 to Ripley's, believe it or not.
Very cool.
The prop may have gone for big bucks, but it isn't even close to being the biggest Star Wars item auctioned off during the week.
$450,000 is like nothing for it. Like for not nothing in general. It's nothing for what you call like the pinnacle of Americana.
Oh, dude, the original R2-D2 unit was the most expensive one. Do you know how much it sold for?
$2.5 million.
You're close, bro. 3.
Okay.
Get out of town. How'd you guess that? You are the Oracle. Cody, that was uncanny, man. That was like the patriarch.
Honestly, because you said the lightsaber wasn't the highest cost thing sold, and you reacted, and I gauged your reaction as about like a 5-6 times price increase.
Really?
I'm like, it's not like
Dang.
1,000 times more expensive than a couple $100,000, but like 7-8 times,
Okay, we've got one super chat that we neglected. Get your super chats out of your systems, guys. If you have any more burning questions, we're about to wrap it up here.
Oh yeah, I gotta go.
Silverfang says, what's the difference between a cult and LDS secret clubs? We don't have any secret clubs, so there's no difference. But yeah, you know, I mean, cults usually are obsessed with financial gain and us versus them attitude and rounded around one person who sexually abuses his sexual abuse is often an aspect of it, whereas we're just a religion of sincerely held beliefs. So that's a difference.
Yeah, I think what he wants to
there.
say is, hey, fuck around, find out, man. We'll see who's right.
Yeah, I think
And only going to be one end of days, only going to be one right side.
yeah,
so.
this was in the part of the chat where, and the other difference is also we don't have a horrible us versus them attitude. We're constantly trying to like bake cookies for people and be nice to them and get them involved. You know what I'm saying? So just be friends with your Mormon buddies, because when the crap hits the fan, you know, they got the ammo and they got the food, and they'll pray for you, and you know they'll probably feed you, maybe even defend you when the Democrats come and try and take your guns away and steal your children. No. Yeah, man. And then Dustin says, culture is not your friend. And I actually believe there's a big cultural change happening. It's like Cactus coming in with a super chat. Says, Adam Duffy hasn't shown up, so Albie has replaced it. Leave a like or a dislike, spokesperson. Yes, thank you for stepping up to the plate.
Please always remember to leave
Sly
a dislike
Cactus.
if you disagree with anything we say.
Thumbs up if you agree. Thumbs down if you disagree. But yeah, let us know what you guys thought in the comments. And I have one request, and I'm going to be looking for these in the comments of this live stream. If anybody, tell me what poll you trust and why. Whether you think it's the betting odds in Vegas, whether you think it's Rasmussen, whether you think it's 538, what poll you trust that you think is, quote, getting it right and why? Because I don't think anybody is. And I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be this massive surprise come 2020. So, yeah, let us know. It's been real and it's been fun. It's been real fun. This is Problem Solver Politics. See you in the next live stream.